I just like that we have listeners who care that we're late.
That was a bad time to come in.
Hello. I love you
Hello and
all.
welcome. Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of the Nintendo News Report for Friday, September 21st, 2018, the first day of fall. I'm your host, Donald Terriel. Alex has currently said something before the show about researching Toad. I have no idea what that means, so we'll just carry on. We still have a 3-man crew this week. Returning champion after a few weeks away for medical reasons and otherwise, Mr. Zach Miller.
Hello, good to be back.
And a regular man who has spent the last 10 minutes playing some Excite Bike, Justin Berube.
Hey, everybody. And that's Versus Excite Bike number 1. Not to be confused with the game that came afterwards, Versus Excite Bike. But I'm not going to talk much about that today. I need to put some more time in before I really lay that down.
Yeah. So and obviously, if you looked at the episode title, if you're watching this on YouTube, we will get to Telltale's situation in a moment because, frankly, that stuff is still breaking. As far as what we've been playing recently, I put up a review last week of Valkyria Chronicles 4. Very fine game, nice bit of strategy. Holy crap, those missions are long. I tried to do a gameplay video that was like 45 minutes long. So let's just say we'll bring that back more next week though, once other people have theoretically had a chance to play it. That, and I'm kind of, Zach, you've been away for a few weeks, and in the meantime, you had about 3 games that I'm kind of interested in hearing about. Why does Senran Kagura have a massage game?
God, I wish I knew. Very, very few games have made me grind my teeth more than Reflections, which is an excuse to shove something onto the Switch as quickly as possible using the assets from Peach Beach Splash. And man, it's there's almost nothing there. It's you do, like, Asuko will put her hands out to you like this, and you use the thumbsticks to pick a spot on her hand, and you press on it, and you can feel her heartbeat with the HD rumble. I mean, that's something. And depending on where you put your thumbs on her hand, she'll get a different fantasy or dream. And, off you go. And say one of the fantasies is she's a ninja, which makes sense. One of the fantasies is she's a naughty teacher. One of the fantasies is she's in sports. She just did some sports. I don't know. But then, my favorite, and by favorite I mean least favorite ever, is when she's your little sister. And you're her big brother, and she needs you to massage her.
You play the most uncomfortable games.
That's about when I wanted to nuke the game from orbit. But so you massage so the game presents you with a full body picture of Asuka, which you can rotate and move up and down. And if you've played Peach Beach or any of the Vita games, you know how that is. It's basically dress up mode without dress up. And you use the sticks and the shoulder buttons and whatever else to smack a part of her body or rub a part of her body or poke a part of her body. And she has reactions. And then eventually you poke the right place enough and some color comes up and you get a massage prompt. And the massage is actually, I mean, it's not horrible. Given the HD rumble, it's you stroke her arm with a brush, you roll a wooden roller up and down the back of her leg, you do some sort of knocking motion on her thigh, and then you apply it's a vibrator onto her sternum, which causes her boobs to jiggle a lot.
Well, at least we know when YouTube doesn't monetize this video, we know why. Also, I should mention that I'm just in my local eShop right now, and this game that is $12.99 Canadian has $67 worth of DLC already. It's been out for
67. I thought only 2 came out. Who
I
is
think
it? I know Yumi
Yumi
It's
and
not a Fire Emblem game.
and Murasaki or whatever her name is.
yeah, and at least I can hop over to the US shop real quick and see how big of a scam this actually is.
Oh, it's a scam. So the game is $10 on the USC shop, and each new character is also $10. But as Senran has told me, the base game is so large because they have all the DLC in there. You just unlock it.
Yeah, the equivalent to the purchase I had attempted on the Canadian shop in the US shop is $51.41. So at that point, you are already over the cost of a brand new Switch game or a set of NES Joy-Cons.
Or the new actual Senran game that's coming out in October or November, which it will be good. So don't get this. It's just so weird. And I was going to say, like, wait for, and I think I did say this in my review, wait for Peach Beach Ball, which is a Senran Kagura pinball game that they're making. How can you screw up pinball, right? Well, recently I saw some footage. They can screw up pinball. Have you seen this, Justin?
No, I'm just
You're
thinking back
nodding.
to playing.
You're nodding
I'm
a lot.
playing-
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
I'm thinking back to
you
when I
know.
played Mario 3D pinball or whatever.
Oh, I mean, the pinball looks okay, but it's the things you're hitting with the balls
Oh,
that
okay.
drive me to drink. So don't get Reflections. It's just really weird. Read my review. I enjoyed writing the review more than playing the game.
All right, but in terms of games that are actually worth playing here, you also reviewed during your recent hospital stay, SNK Heroines, and I'm actually kind of interested in seeing if this is worth picking up here.
So it depends on whether you have local co-op friends to play with in person. Because right now the online is a slideshow. It's just terrible. The game itself is actually pretty good. It's a very simplified version of it has smash controls, and you have to knock the enemy down to a certain amount of health, and then you perform this very big special attack, and you have to do that to finish the match. But it's very quick. There's a lot of back and forth. There's cool items like you can trigger a bomb to fall on somebody, or a vial of poison, or you can up your vitality or your health. You always have 2 characters. And there's a ton of customization with clothing options. Everyone has 3 costumes, but then you can add bunny ears or, cattails or, angel wings, the things you'd find in something like Senran. Those do not transfer over to online play, so you would only be able to see those when you're playing in single player or local co-op, which, that's kind of weird. But the bad part is there's not a lot there in the single player. It's a story mode that lasts 7 fights and doesn't take long. And you really don't earn enough zenny per fight to unlock many things in the accessory shop. So it's getting more characters. It's getting 2 DLC characters at least, and I think they'll probably do more. But it really depends on what your multiplayer situation is. It's a fun game. It's cute. It's just very limited.
All right, so moving on here, Justin, I'm guessing the reason you've only played about 10 minutes of versus Excitebike 1 is because apparently you've spent quite a bit of time in the Golden Country this week.
Yes, and I think versus Excitebike only came out today, and I worked today, so I haven't had much time for that. But I have been playing, as you said, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, the Golden Country. For those who don't know, it's basically a completely new game in the Xenoblade universe. It's a prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You can buy it as a standalone game, or if you got it the DLC expansion for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you could play it through that game, like you select it from the title screen.
It's a lot of value for that season pass.
Yeah, it was $30, I think, and up until maybe like a month ago, they kept adding quests and new blades and stuff like that to the main game. So there was some cool stuff you got too. But anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country. The way it plays is very similar to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but they redid the entire combat system. It's similar, but completely refreshed. It's a little bit easier to grasp, I guess, from the get-go. And they don't hold as much back as they did in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the base game. I felt like you were unlocking combat things forever in that game. I think it was until Chapter 4 was when most of your arsenal was allowed, but in this game, it's almost everything right off the bat. Almost. I know there's a few things I don't have yet.
And somebody on Twitter said that you can actually rewatch the tutorials now.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at that. I think you could go back and maybe look at some information on that in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I really don't remember. It's been so long since I've had to. But yeah, I think you can go back and do something with that now. But I haven't had to. I understand what they're trying to show the first time around. I guess I've played a lot of the regular games, so I understand the terminology. But I can understand where that would be confusing if you hadn't. The map is a bit better. They've added tombstones on the map, so you can see what unique monsters you've killed just by scrolling over them, which is awesome.
Okay, cool.
And I was reading today in some developer interview, they redid the rendering engine or something like that, so things are a bit better graphically. But yeah, the story's fun. And of course, me playing Xenoblade, I get sucked into all the weird side stuff, and just like the main game, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there's so many weird distractions that you can get sucked into between the quests and grinding a bit if you want to, which I don't really have to do, because if you do this other stuff, it helps, like trying to fill out your blade affinity chart. Those are kind of like mini quests on their own. And when you do those, you keep getting more powerful, almost more so than leveling in some cases for those characters. But yeah, there's a lot. If you like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you got to play this. It is awesome.
I think I have to play it because, as Senran points out in the chat, the ability to rewatch tutorials is going to actually make this game make sense to me now.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying it. I'm about 16 hours in, but I'm still only on the second town because I keep grinding out those affinity charts, and then it's like, oh, guess what? Now you have another tier you can unlock just because you've been playing so much and raising the trust levels. So I think I'm like in the second area, and I'm like on low 30s level wise. So yeah, I'm having fun with that. I just it's like I said, it's so easy to get distracted and just run off and do weird things. So if you like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you need to play Torna.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can actually get Torna standalone on the eShop as well. Although if you do get that, you will also get the expansion pass. So at that point, you might as well just pick up the base game if you can find it used or cheap somewhere.
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, I wouldn't just start with Torna. I would definitely play through Xenoblade Chronicles 2 first, and then do Torna, just because I feel like even though you can play through Torna, there's going to be certain things that you don't understand and references, and it's kind of like the Star Wars prequels in that sense.
Oh, more impactful if you've seen the whatever. Yeah.
The original movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because they designed it in that way, even though there are the tutorials and everything in case you need them. But my question is,
I still need to beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Period.
You do.
I will do it someday. I really will.
My question is, what happens if you don't, say you buy the physical copy of Torna, keep the code, get rid of the physical copy of Torna, and you didn't buy the expansion pass. If you redeem the expansion pass with your physical copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, would Torna unlock in Xenoblade Chronicles 2? What happens?
Huh.
I would think you would get the copy that way, but that seems like a pretty roundabout way to go for something that you've got the cart for to begin with.
Yeah, but I'm very confused if you can boot it both ways if you do that, or if because like if you buy it separately, you're obviously going to have a separate icon on your Switch to boot the game. But the way you boot it through the DLC expansion is to go into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and then select Torna. So what happens? I've asked around.
I don't think anybody's taken that plunge yet. All right. But I think the thing we've all been playing this week, the Nintendo Switch Online, it's here. Have
Yep.
Hopefully, I think we're still. I know I'm still on the free trial. I'm holding off on buying it as long as possible because well, I'm an antisocial person by default, and well, I haven't really the NES games I think are going to lose their appeal really quickly. Although I did finally get a chance to see what the big deal is with Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl. Dude is busted.
Oh yeah. I actually didn't buy a subscription. A friend of the show, Pandaradox, added me on his family account.
Yeah, throw him $5 at least for that.
Oh, I will. And we were both concerned that the NES controllers were only good for per account, so like I couldn't get them because he already pre-ordered. But that doesn't seem to be the case. It appears that I can get some too.
Yeah,
I have
that's
not
true.
yet because they're $60. Good Lord. But that was good to know. Virtually none of these NES games are worth playing for more than 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
I haven't really gotten into Mario 3, but
That's one of the good ones.
yeah. I mean that, and I think a couple of us here are going to end up playing a bunch of these NES games online anyway, for something that we'll probably have more on next week.
Right.
But yeah, like I mainly played this focused on like practicing the 2-player competitive stuff because I don't want to look like a complete idiot when that goes live.
Right.
So like I played a little bit of I did a match of tennis. I actually managed to win in straight sets.
Nice.
Did some ice hockey. 3 fat guys and a skinny guy, still busted. And NES baseball is virtually unplayable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've never played that.
My advice: don't.
Okay.
One of my concerns with this whole service right now is a few of these games that are part of the app are also available as arcade archives.
Oh
And the
yeah,
arcade
like Donkey
archives
Kong.
versions are better. And in fact, like today, versus Excitebike came out, which I don't know if it's better or not yet, but it's another version of Excitebike. I mean, it's still Excitebike. It is different, but still, I think that would really hurt.
It is different, but
hamsters'
really,
sales. Yeah, how many people are going to be willing to spend $8 on a different version of Excitebike besides me?
right.
And
Well, based on the screenshots that I've seen here, I mean they're both 1-player games, but the arcade version of Excitebike is going to, by necessity, look better, and there's a little bit of variety there. So
I don't know if it looks that much better from the few minutes I've played with it.
yeah, I think the only
because it started out as an NES game and then they put it on arcades. The other games went the other way around. Like Donkey Kong was an arcade game, then went to NES, and the same with Mario Brothers.
I think the main advantage is that the Arcade Archives version doesn't have the track editor, because obviously they wouldn't have had a way to save that stuff in 1986.
Oh yeah.
And with the suspend points on the NES version, like on the Switch version, you can actually save those courses in a fashion.
That's true.
And I almost forgot, versus Super Mario Brothers is also another Arcade Archives game available right now.
Yeah, but that's also different enough than the one that the one I'm looking at now, that it's probably worth picking up on its own anyway.
Versus Super Mario Brothers is essentially lost levels, right?
It's a mix. There's a few worlds or levels I think that are lost levels, and then some of the levels are straight from Super Mario Brothers, but
Oh, okay.
they slightly remix certain things. I know, especially in the beginning, there's certain elements they did to throw people who are very familiar with the game off.
I
So
think
they'll
the
be like
poison
missing.
mushrooms like the first thing you get.
I don't think there's poison mushrooms in versus Super Mario Brothers, but I know, like, right, you know, the warp zone in World 1-2 when you run across the top. So right in the beginning of that, so if you're just like speeding through, like, yeah, I got this, they removed like a block or two. So if you don't jump, you're falling in and like missing the warp. So they've done sneaky things like that. It's like, oh, we know what you were going to try and do, but you screwed it up this time.
Oh, I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah, so it is worth checking out for that sort of stuff. But I'm saying, like, in general, I don't think most people are going to see these Arcade Archives versions and feel compelled to buy them if they've already paid for the online service. Because, like, well, I already have Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong, even though some of these versions are better.
Yeah. Cherry Goblet saying, I'm surprised Punch-Out isn't on the Switch Online NES library. Well, I mean, it didn't come to Virtual Console originally for like 6 months to a year from when it first came out. So that's, I suppose they need to dangle something in the new year.
I think just about every first-party Nintendo game on NES will eventually make it to the service, so just be patient.
Including the Japanese-only ones like Murasame Castle or Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Fire Emblem maybe not here, unless they really want to translate it and do something awesome, which would be cool. Since
Yeah.
I guess they did. They didn't do a new translation since they did a long time ago, but they did release Earthbound Beginnings a few years ago on Wii U.
Oh, yeah.
So that'd be cool if they added that to the service. And what else was I going to say?
It would also be cool if that game was good.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff they could do, but yeah. And then Japan could get Star Tropics. Let's be nice.
Yeah. It's just that because like I have the NES version, and I was able to go on the Japanese eShop and download the Famicom one, and they've got the same library, and we're getting Twinbee. We're not getting, I forget what they call that game when they localized it, but yeah, because it seems like at least so far we're getting the same library. Just wonder how long it's going to take for it to diverge. Probably once Tower Duraga comes out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I like how it works. I think it's pretty cool to have this on the system where I can just play a bunch of NES games. I think that really adds value to the whole Nintendo Entertainment System online stuff. Or it's like the whole online service. But have you guys checked out the cloud saving at all?
I uploaded everything. I'm surprised I had to do it manually. I kind of figured they would do it automatically, but
oh, really?
Yeah, I had to manually go in and select everything. But now, maybe if I left my Switch on overnight or something, that wouldn't have been an issue. But
well, I did leave my Switch on overnight. Now, every game said waiting to upload, but it never did. So I had to go in and cancel each one and then hit upload, and then and then it did it. So I had to spend maybe like 10 minutes going through my list of game saves and just cancel, start the backup, and now everything seems to be working. So if you did pay for this, make sure you check that to be sure that your game saves are actually being saved on the cloud and not hung up like mine were.
Yeah, and I learned that my biggest save file is actually 112 megabytes. It's for Valkyria Chronicles 4, actually.
Oh, of course. That makes sense.
Yeah, Zelda was also surprisingly big. Xenoblade, not so much.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to the news here, and obviously the big developing story I'm still trying to sort out what's going on with it right now. Earlier today, it was announced, Telltale put out a statement announcing that yes, they had laid off all but 25 employees of the company,
and that means like 250 people
minimum. I think because they laid off a quarter of their staff 12 to 18 months within the last 12 to 18 months. And at that time, they had 400 people. So if you figure Now I don't know how much attrition they would have had since then, but even then, that's like said 250, 300 people out of jobs in San Francisco, which is not a cheap place to live,
No.
and no severance.
See, that pisses me off.
Like the only way I could see that is if the company is going to basically declare bankruptcy the minute they finish whatever requirements they have, because the one thing that they're still going to be working on is a Netflix exclusive choose your adventure thing based on Minecraft story mode. Everything else is dead.
Wow. That's a weird thing to survive.
I guess Netflix probably said, you know, they're flinging money around left, right, and center. So here,
True.
we're going to pay you just enough to finish this off for us, and then we don't care. Because they said like one of the things that Telltale had gotten a license for was Stranger Things,
Yeah.
and Netflix said in a statement today that they were looking into new options for bringing Stranger Things into interactive media.
Wow.
But like, this news came completely out of nowhere today. Like we got a press email on Monday saying that Telltale Walking Dead, the final season, the second episode's coming out next Tuesday, like the 25th.
Wow.
And they had inked a PC publishing deal that they sent PR out about yesterday.
Wow. That means that management or PR had no idea what was happening.
I don't think anybody had any idea what was going on in that company.
That's insane.
Yeah. And
I wonder what caused it. I mean, I know they always have problems putting out episodes in a good clip, but people seem to like their games.
Yeah, but they didn't we don't know what this we have some idea of what they would usually sell like on PC for their games, which would usually be about 300,000 and probably not so much on consoles. But if you're trying to keep they had what, 4 or 5 series that had been announced or that they were working on. And remember, their stuff, not only is it usually $20 a shot for the season, or you pay $5 an episode, but they would frequently put their stuff on sale, like in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I got a lot of their games for very cheap.
I think not counting the copy of Tales from the Borderlands, I don't think I have anymore because my PS Plus died. Rest in pieces.
Oh.
I think my old roommate paid like $6 for The Wolf Among Us on 360.
Wow.
Yeah. And their engine itself was kind of a mess. I'd always heard that they were transitioning to Unity, which if you're going to pick an engine that's a real mess to go from the Telltale engine, you might as well go Unity.
Huh.
Yeah. So I think it was a combination of they were laying out too much money for licensing for properties than what the games would the game sales would justify,
right?
And something had to be going on in the C-suite. Like they were hiring last week.
Wow. But yeah, I hope the story comes out because this is a very interesting thing. Totally unexpected, apparently, from everybody involved.
Yeah, all the staff were saying that they had this was a complete shock to them, and yeah, I could see that, especially since if they based on the game sales, which basically looks like a low big spike for Walking Dead season 1 back down to regular Telltale levels. That's not enough to sustain a company of 300-400 people.
Yeah, no.
Especially
somebody working the books probably knew.
Yeah, somebody
could be.
I wonder if somebody was. Well, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but I would really love to. I really look forward to when several people called into Jason Schreier about this. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And no severance. My God.
Yeah. And Travis in the chat saying if they were still hiring, they probably had they had lines of credit or loans that they were expecting that got denied.
Oh, that could be.
Because if that's the case, then yeah, I could see it where doing normal business on a Thursday and then you're out the door Friday morning, something had to have happened for Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, if a deal fell through, that's one thing. But if like people at the top knew this was coming or just kept their mouths shut, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. So I guess I have to give up my hope that they ported Strong Bad's cool game for attractive people to the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's still my favorite Telltale game.
I've always wanted to play that Sam and Max game they made.
They made a couple of them, I think.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, and hopefully everybody at Telltale who was let go from Telltale can get back on their feet and get back on it quickly. Because thankfully, the social media is out with the hashtag Telltale Jobs, letting them know that they're looking. So hopefully everybody who is negatively affected by this will be able to get back on their feet quickly and keep going. But
yeah.
The big story of the week up until about 2:00 this afternoon Eastern time, Nintendo Online Service, as mentioned, finally launched. You can buy your controllers. Word of warning: they charge up front for that. They don't wait until they actually ship them, and they're not shipping them until December.
Yep.
So Merry Christmas, I guess. Not really seeing any.
Want the Famicom ones?
Yeah, but you'd have to get a Japanese account. Like you'd have to pay for it in yen.
Oh, yeah, no.
I know because I was listening to 8-4 on the way home to see if anything came out of TGS. Spoilers: nothing came out of TGS, not even the Kingdom Hearts 3 delay. But they are. We might have something tomorrow with Phoenix, right? But you have one of the hosts wanted to get the NES controllers and the Famicom controllers, but they have Japanese accounts, so they're locked out of the NES ones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's live. Cloud savings are live. Like we said, you have to go in and manually push everything up. And I don't know if there's going to be some, like, if I'm going to have to re-upload if, say, I don't get, like, I have the trial right now. There's a 7-day free trial. I don't know if I'm going to have to wait if I'm going to have to re-upload everything, because I'm probably not getting the actual subscription until I get paid, which is next Friday.
Oh. So you think that your stuff might disappear?
I mean, this is the same company that does Pokemon Bank, and I accidentally let my subscription on that go fallow for a month and a half earlier this year, and I still had everything.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be there when it comes back. I don't know, but I suppose I'll find out this week, won't I?
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
At least you'll be the one figuring it all out. I'm just glad to have my stuff backed up because I was always afraid to bring my Switch places because I thought to myself, hey, if this breaks, if I drop this, if someone steals it, all my saves are gone. And when I put the amount of time I've put into some of these games, that would be devastating.
Yeah.
I would hate to see your Xenoblade file go because
Yeah.
you dropped the Switch or something and they can't repair it.
Oh, exactly. That's why I wouldn't really bring it out to places. I bring it to other people's houses, but I wouldn't go out and about with it.
Yeah, and the other big feature that sort of came with the firmware update that included the Nintendo Switch Online, we seem to have PlayStation style game sharing on the Switch now.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, you can get you can now sign in with your, like, I can take my Nintendo account, put it on my roommate's Switch, and he could theoretically go in and download everything that I've bought on eShop, which is a fair bit, so long as I'm not online.
Wow. That's very unexpected.
I mean, I can sort of see it because I mean that's why they have the cloud saves to begin with. But if like if I wanted to make that his Switch my primary, I would basically have to transfer my profile to a system.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I can
Well,
still.
this is definitely good for families.
It's
with multiple
great
Switch units.
great for families and websites. Oh, hey, I got this. Hey, I got this code for Valkyria Chronicles 4. Hey, John, can you do some video for me? Here's my password.
But can you both be online at the same time and playing different games, or
No, if my let's say I gave my password to John for recording purposes. If I was to start playing like Mega Man on my Switch, it would kick him off.
Gotcha.
okay?
Makes
I
sense.
wasn't sure if it was just the same game, like, or not. Because I wasn't sure if like you were playing Mega Man and he wanted to play Mega Man, it wouldn't work. But if you wanted to play Mega Man and you wanted to play like Mario Kart, if that would work.
Oh,
Yeah, it's based on the ID. So like
Okay.
if I was to now I wonder what would happen because I have more than one ID on my Switch. If I was to say play that with my US profile and he was to play with my Canadian
oh,
one.
it's
I'm
interesting.
I'm gonna have to do some research on that.
That's not as good for families as I thought. Because I was thinking there could be like one parental account that downloads games, and then like your kids could play on any system, just not the same game at the same time. But no, I guess not.
Yeah, it's more the it's like I said, it's all account based. So you need
Yep.
to be careful on that. Uh, in somewhat more positive news, we finally got the sales results for the US for August from NPD. Switch best-selling hardware by units,
Nice.
and despite only being on sale for 5 days, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate still managed to make the combined top 20, not even accounting for any eShop sales it had, because
Wow.
Nintendo doesn't release those numbers.
Oh.
Although it wasn't the best-selling Monster Hunter title of the month because the PC release of World got Monster Hunter World all the way up to number 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and hey, WarioWare Gold actually did pretty well too. It didn't like make a top 20, but it actually managed to beat a Pokemon game on 3DS.
That's pretty good. I want that game very badly. Not Pokemon, the other one.
WarioWare, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the pretty good deal on that. I was able to get it in a fashion that I was able to pay like $10 out of pocket and get WarioWare Gold and a bunch of other stuff that I had my eye on.
Oh, there we go.
I bought it, but I haven't played it yet.
Same here, actually.
I just have too much stuff to play. Not
There
enough
were
time.
there were 29 games on Switch this week alone.
Oh my god.
And of course, I buy Excitebike.
Yeah. Yeah, and next week's going to be even more nuts because it's the last week of the quarter. So we are probably going to have. I think next week we're going to see more than 30 games.
Oh god.
I'm dreading the downloads article already. It might be longer than my VC4 review.
Just nothing but titles.
Yeah, nothing but me being snarky about a couple of games, and then trying to get James to buy the Atelier trilogy in Japanese, and then and just a massive list of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Atelier games are out in Japan now. I think it's equivalent of about I think they're on sale for launch for like 4,500 yen each, or you get the whole set for about 10,000 yen.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I guess final news story today. Unless we want to get into the Fortnite bundle, but Sega, what in Naga's name are you doing with your retro releases? So we finally get the Sega Ages, the first two games of that come out. We get Sonic 1 and I can't believe I'm saying this, Lightning Force, or Thunder Force 4 in the rest of the world who actually knows what they're talking about. And those are from M2. They have new features. They're great. And then Sega goes and announces that they're porting over to Switch a collection of about 55 Genesis games later this winter with emulation that we'll say is not from M2. And all I can think is, why?
Why indeed? It's it's like they have two different teams, and they had one hand wasn't talking to the other.
Oh, so in other words, it's Sega since about 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Don't
it's
buy
kinda how
anything. Don't buy anything that's not done by M2, folks. Just don't do it.
kind of how I feel about the arcade archive stuff, because I think it was a year ago Nintendo announced those, and I think Versus Ice Climber is still supposed to be one of those, and guess what? Now you can play.
You can play Ice Climbers on the NES, but
Yeah,
like at least they're not charging, like at least Nintendo's not charging $50 for this collection that happens to include Ice Climbers.
Mhm.
But come to think of it, where is Balloon Fight versus Cuckoo Land versus Pinball?
Yeah, all these things that are clearly coming to the NES servers. I'm just drawing a comparison here.
Yeah.
So
How many versions of the same game do you need? I mean, for me, I want them all for the Nintendo stuff at least, because I'm interested in the minute differences. But from a marketing standpoint, it just seems horrible.
Breaking news story, kind of. There's already a downloadable fighter for SNK.
Oh, who is it?
It's Thief Arthur? No idea who that is.
That sounds like something that's going to show up in that SNK 40th anniversary collection in a month and a half.
I can see that. She's like a young girl. That's all I got. From Million Arthur Arcana Blood.
That's a Square Enix game.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Thief Arthur from Million Arthur. Well, look at that.
She's certainly dressed for the part.
I don't know whether to buy her or not. I like the game a lot, but I mean the online is just trash. Maybe they fixed it.
Yeah, and yeah, Million Arthur is a Japanese media franchise created by Square Enix, consisting primarily of a series of video games. The first release was an online free-to-play card battle game, which was released for iOS and Android in 2012.
Wow.
So saith Wikipedia, so it must be true.
Wow, so she is a very new character.
Yeah, that's why even though she's with Square Enix, you've probably never heard of her before now.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, learn something new every day.
Yeah. So that with that little bit of late breaking news, I think that'll wrap it up for this week. Because really, we just have too many bloody games to play.
Amen.
Yeah. I want to give that Dark Souls thing a try.
I need 100%, 112% Hollow Knight, which is so good.
Yeah. Although I should also mention that there is a Nicholas sale on the eShop now until the 1st of October. I might snap and buy a Karuga.
Do it.
Finally.
$10. It's fun.
I might do it too.
And when your flip grip comes, you'll be able to play it in Tate mode with the Joy-Cons.
Yeah. And you love The End Is Nigh. I think it was $6.
I think it was $5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so hard, but it's so good. It's so pure.
I really like VVV on 3DS, and I saw that was on
also
sale.
Excellent. Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, there's some pretty stinking deals on there. Even Isaac is somewhat affordable now.
20. I know. $20.
Yep. All right.
You get $20 of content. Believe me. I put hundreds of hours into Isaac.
I don't know, man. I have tried that game, and it just I have enough trouble with roguelikes, and between that and the subject matter, not for me.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, but it's the only roguelike that I have ever clicked with. I didn't click with Rogue Legacy. Remember, everybody and their dog loved Rogue Legacy, but I played it for a few hours and was like, this is kind of the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. All right. So So let's get in our plugs here and get out of here. So Zach is on Twitter at zmiller1902.
Mm-hmm.
And anything you got up in the pipeline, Zach, or anything we should look
I don't
out
have any. I don't have any reviews lately, but I did get this in the mail the other day. It's
for?
a juvenile Nile crocodile skull, and so I really like it. I've been spending a lot of time with it, measuring it and photographing it.
Yeah. And Justin is on Twitter at King Nintendo Fan, on Instagram at King Nintendo Fanboy. And one of these days, we're bringing a camera crew to your house, Justin. Be ready for it.
Yeah, if you guys want to come and check out the collection, love to show it off.
And my plug in lieu this week would be to at the Famicast, former NWR site staffers who all live in Japan and are at TGS, the poor souls.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a public day today. Have fun.
Oh God.
And yeah, I believe the lines for Sekiro have already closed.
So it's like E3 now.
Yeah,
This
basically.
is their E3 day.
Yep. Although really E3 is more like TGS now with the public being in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but don't they have press days only?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the guys were able to get in or not.
I wish E3 would take that approach and be like, hey, here's like a day or two of press.
Yeah.
Only. But I guess that's a conversation for a couple months from now.
Yeah.
When they somehow make it worse than ever.
I'm expecting Nintendo to show more than one game publicly this year, so this is really not helping my confidence for me actually going to E3.
They'll close one of the halls. They'll cram everybody into the one hall.
Because you're really going to get a great Animal Crossing experience at E3.
I'm mainly going so I can give one of the guys at the NCSoft booth a high five.
I mean, I'd love to go back to E3, but
not like this.
Yeah,
not like this. I'm going to stick with PAX East. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. Please check us out on iTunes. We'll make sure we have the feed updated because I believe next episode would be the 100th of Nintendo News Report as an audio show.
Wow.
So,
nice.
So look forward to that next week. But until then, have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
awesome.
Cheap.
Later.